Welcome to School of Tao. This episode is all about reparenting yourself and doing the inner child work. So what does that mean? What does it mean to reparent yourself and to take care of your inner child in a way so that she, he, they are not leading the show? So every time we've experienced something painful at any point in our life, particularly in our formative years, a part of your consciousness field is created. And this part is created because it wants to try and protect you from going through any further painful experiences. But actually, to be open, to be in the heart space, means to be open for all of it. So our job really becomes incorporating all parts back into our integrity so as to be able to walk the path of divinity that is purely in the space of the heart, that is not trying to shield or guard or whatever from any further pain or hurt, because actually part of the human experience is experiencing pain, is experiencing challenge, and it's through this that the heart opens even wider. So how do we incorporate those parts back into the whole? So these beautiful parts of your consciousness field, your inner children that may have been neglected for some time, are just really asking for their voice to be known and for their needs to be met. As soon as their needs are met, then they stop acting out in the world that is trying to get what they need from other people and from other experiences that they didn't get. So these parts of your consciousness field, they exist. That person, that little child, that teenage child of you exists as a kind of holographic version of you, if you like, and can be called into your conscious awareness at any time. And when you bring this part of you back, you can just drop fully into your body. It's really beautiful to close your eyes, place your hand on your heart or your womb or wherever, but I think really connecting in with the heart and your inner children is really powerful. And when you do this, start to ask your inner child and conjure this image of like, where are they? Where does the feeling arise in your body that's connected to this pain part? What are they doing? What is your inner child doing? And where are they? And what do they need? And what are they trying to say? And just opening your field to listen to everything that needs to be understood so that you can give them exactly what they need. And as soon as you give your inner child exactly what they need, they will then loosen their grip so that you can have what you need, which is to walk your path of your highest expression without any resistance or interference or acting out. So it can be a really powerful place to start to ask with relation to your inner children. How were you parented when you were younger? How were you mothered? How were you fathered? And how did that feel? How did it feel to be parented in that way? And focus specifically on mother separately and father separately. Because for me, it was really important to look at the fact that actually my father was very feminine and motherly and my mother was very fatherly. And so, really working through all of this as unblocking was powerful as well. So look at your parents separately. And reflect upon how you were mothered, how you were fathered, how it felt to be mothered and fathered in that way, and what you actually needed, because this is the really important part for reparenting yourself. What did you need when you were younger as a deeply intuitive person, as an empath, as a magical human, perhaps that wasn't so understood by your parents? Often deeply intuitive children are born into quite, inverted commas, non-spiritual families and kind of materialist families, and this is part of the journey. This black sheepness, this black sheepdom is part of the journey, because we as children are born into these families to shine our light and to break ancestral patterns. So whilst this can initially be like a really lonely part of the journey, like I spent a large part of my early years feeling quite alone with this magicality and deep intuitive knowing, sensing system, it is actually our reason, part of our reason for being is to be within that family and to start to shift patterns that have been passed down through ancestral lineage, through generations, that need to be broken. So what's really important with these parts, once you've identified perhaps patterns or things that you weren't getting from your parents, with no judgment at all, like we sign up for these contracts, we agree to come into these particular families and places to experience certain things and to heal particular wounds as well. So oftentimes our parents are doing the best job that they can with all of the wounds that they've inherited from their parents. So it's with this deep compassion, but kind of an objectivity, that we start to look at the wounds and patterns. with love and appreciation for all the beauty and all the love and nourishment that we received, but also with this kind of more objective stance of looking at the patterns that were not meeting our needs, so that we can give ourselves now exactly what we were not receiving then. And then we stop trying to get it from other people and places. We're like self-nourishing in that way. And we for sure heal through our relationships. But really it's about going to the people that you can get that love and nourishment from, and not going to places or recreating patterns where you're trying to get things from people that can't give it to you and replicating that pattern from childhood. It's like trying to get cheese from a bakery, isn't it? Because it's so ingrained in the behaviour. You think it's so normal to go to a particular person and try to get love and try to be seen and try to be heard, because that's how you were as a child, because you had to be, because you weren't being seen and heard. But now is the time to break the patterns, because you can be seen and heard in all of your magicality, and you can be understood in all of your beautiful divinity. So acceptance is huge in this, accepting all parts of you, like the weird squiffy parts, the awkward parts that don't necessarily fit in many places, all parts of you, the deeply complex parts of you, the parts that are maybe like slightly needy, all parts, like with all the love that you have in your capacity, bringing all of that love to all of those parts of you so that they feel absolutely nourished and accepted as they are. We don't see any exclusion in nature. And so this is the work, to bring back all these parts, owning them, loving them, all the strangenesses, all the weirdnesses, all the extreme quirks, because they are actually also your superpowers, and bringing them back in with love. Love is really the key that unlocks every door in the universe. As soon as we love all parts of ourselves exactly as we are right now, then the easier it is to move through life without resistance. So I invite you to journal on how you were parented and what you needed and what you need now, or what those inner children need now, and to think about all of the parts that you perhaps are resistant to look at, so that you can start to shine the light of your conscious awareness on those parts so that they can be integrated. Because it's only when all of those parts are integrated that you can actually move with flow in the direction that you want to go in. Otherwise there's like this tension and push and pull. And make it a part of your regular practice to bring your inner children in, to ask them what they need, like every day or at least weekly, and see where they're at and see what you need to give them, and see what they're doing and see what they would actually rather be doing. At some stage I saw my inner child like on a cross trainer. I was like, what do you need? And she was like, I just want to go and play hopscotch. So then I started to think, like, how can I incorporate more fun and play and exploration and pleasure into my life so she doesn't feel like she's constantly trudging up a very high mountain. In any moment, ask them what they need, see what you can give them, and watch how this opens up the flow in front of you. You'll feel the resistance dissolve pretty quickly. So sending you loads of waves of love. I hope that this has been really useful. Drop any comments that you have below, and I will see you in the next episode of School of Tao.